Hey guys, it's me, Ruowen Huang. Today my coffee break is very literary because I'm drinking my coffee of the day today. Anyway, today's our coffee break time, and I thought we'd talk about something well, I find interesting. I don't know if everybody find interesting, but I want to talk about alpha female. I don't know if you guys have any idea, but let's talk about that. Anyway, before I start, my name is Ruowen Huang. I'm an author, spirit coach, and also a psychic. Why do I want to talk about alpha female? It's very simple, because I knew quite a few of them. I knew quite a bit of alpha female. Okay, what is alpha female? It's same as alpha male. You know how alpha male? Alpha male is using wolf as an example. Right? When there's a pack of wolf, there's always one that have that alpha sense, right? That means they seem to have that leader sense, or they just born of being like a leadership being, you know what I mean? So basically, you know, it's not like they bully someone, so therefore they become alpha. It's automatically they have that vibe or sense that make them capable to lead a pack, right? So basically, what I try to describe is alpha female is just the same. Alpha female is, they're born, it's not like they look tough or act tough or even aggressive with people. It's just the way they are, the way they carry themselves. They know what they're doing, and then, you know, they have very strong sense of leadership, or they are very capable of doing various things in any field, whatever field they're in, right? So the reason I want to talk about alpha female is I know quite a few of them, right? So it's not like they go outside and bully people. They just pretty much live their life. But they usually carry something very similar. That's why here I want to share with you guys. Alpha female usually know who they are. They have very strong identity who they are, right? They don't need other people to validate their own value, right? And then they don't really depends on anybody either, right? You know, my life depends on you, therefore, you know, they have that kind of almost detachment, like you feel like you can detach from them, and then they will still do fine without you, or things like that, right? They have very sense of direction. They not direction, but they always have a goal of their life. Or anyway, what I try to say is alpha female is usually carry that very strong leadership, but that leadership is not necessarily, you know, in action bullying people, or, you know, aggressive or look tough even. They could be soft looking, but they still carry that alpha female sense. What you can basically test them or figure out is alpha female, they don't rely on people too much. You know what I mean? You can, if you ever threat, this is an example I can give it to you. If you ever threat an alpha female, you're gonna leave her or manipulate her or do anything of jealousy, hoping she will clinging on to you, the chances of alpha female will simply just walk away from you, because that doesn't quite work in their sense, right? They live their life looking for a compatible mate. That means they're looking for someone compatible. They do not need anybody who manipulate them. They do not need people who play game, or they definitely don't need someone that continuously require babysitting. Does that make sense? So why I bring this out? The reason why I bring this out is alpha female is like a tall people, you know what I mean? If you're a short people, you can always, if you're a short girl, you can always find boyfriend, right? You can find it everywhere. But, you know, if you're alpha female, it's like you are a tall girl, so your selection got limited. Does that make sense to you guys? But anyway, the reason I want to talk about alpha female is because I know quite a few alpha female, right? So, you know, usually in North American slang, they call it, you know, the girl who wear the pants in the house. You know, I don't really agree with that, because alpha female unnecessarily always have to be a bully, but they could. sometimes come across like a bully. And because they always have that intimidating sense, right? So if you happen to be very insecure people and things like that, when you get close to an alpha female, you will automatically feel intimidated, and you probably would not know why, right? Just because that's just the vibe they are. So the reason I come back to this so many times is I find a lot of time when they're alpha female in a relationship, right? Sometimes they would deal with some guy, they have low self-esteem or something, and then, you know, their behavior or something when they are together in a relationship with an alpha female, the guy would somehow somewhat don't look manly in other people's eye. So what people tend to do or tend to come back and tell alpha female to do is you should soften yourself. You should not do that. You should not tell them what to do. You should, you know, lower your standard. You know what I mean? So what people tend to do in this society, it is a majority of the society, I know, of course, there's always exception, right? Is people is so okay when male being alpha, but people are not okay when female being alpha. So when they are in any relationship and then they see the girl, let's say the girl is not doing dishes, or, you know, or the husband's doing dishes, they will say, oh, you should do like, you should, you know, like make your husband look bad. Or, you know, sometimes if the alpha female say something, right, they say, oh, that's the two of you being too tough on your mate, right? What I try to describe here is alpha female come up with a sense of being or sense of leadership or something. Yes, they could sometimes be very harsh on people, you know, because their vibe itself is already intimidating people, right? So the word they say sometimes can be harsh too. They will especially harsh on their companion, like their mate or their companion. The reason of that is alpha female don't usually say harsh words, so we can bash our mate, you know, self-esteem and all that. It's because we know we are in this level and it's hard for us to find a mate, right? So when we finally send someone or someone who have a potential being more alpha than us, right? And then somehow their behavior don't match what we sent. We, like, what happened is we get frustrated, right? So the word come out our mouth can be harsh, almost sounds like a criticism sometimes. But the intention, from as far as I can see, is unlikely to bash someone's self-esteem, to make them a lower being than they are. What alpha female tend to do is they wish their mate can rise above themselves. You know what I mean? So if their mate can somehow rise above themselves, right, then they will create an alpha sense. So what happened is alpha female doesn't like to be convinced to surrender ourselves. You know what I mean? You cannot convince it, because then part of us feel like we being fool, you know, or we are not authentic to ourselves, or we are lied to ourselves, or whatever, right? We have to somehow, some way to see an action or behavior or some kind of conversation or anything you say it to make us, you know, surrendering ourselves. You know what I mean? So if our mate somehow, some way rise above themselves, right, and become a true alpha. So we call true alpha is not necessarily you act bully or you just sit at home, do what traditional, you know, I don't know, what men do. Like you don't do housework, you don't do that. That is not quite alpha. Alpha is basically a being of a person who is feeling very comfortable with themselves. They can carry themselves just fine, right? And then they know what they're doing. And then all I can describe is, to an alpha female, an attracting alpha is not necessarily what they do. They can cook and they can do housework and they can still feel alpha. The reason of that is the way they carry themselves. The way they carry themselves have the sense of leadership that we feel, or we know what they're doing, right? So when we can somehow bring our mate to rise above themselves and go to that level and become so-called true alpha, then the alpha female very likely are willing to surrender themselves. Surrender themselves is, that's just how nature works, right? That's just how nature works. I don't really know how to describe it, but basically mean if your sense of being is way more alpha than a strong alpha female at this point is willing to surrender themselves. That doesn't mean I will then become a housewife and do anything, but I am willing to compromise my strong sense and then put work with your sense. You know what I mean? So if your sense continue not making sense to an alpha female, they will resist or having resistance to work with you, right? And then they probably be harsh on you. They probably say words that's really mean, right? But not necessary to hurt your self-esteem, especially if you are their mate, if they are their chosen mate, right? What they really want you to do is not so much as like, you are the worst, you are not compatible for me. The reason we're still hanging on because we believe that's a potential and we don't know how to bring it up, right? So sometimes frustration will come out and things like, because what we want to do is, can you please rise above yourself, right? It's not necessarily how much money you make, or it's not necessarily what car you drive, what house you buy, but can you know who you are, what you want to be, and then carry yourself like a true alpha. So anyway, that's what the reason I want to talk about it, because, personal opinion, and it's coffee break, right? So I talk about alpha female, and I just happen to know a lot of alpha female. So the thing is about alpha female is you can always spot another alpha female. It's really weird. And because alpha female don't usually have friends, because who they are being intimidate others, right? So that's why, I don't know, same bird flock together or whatever you call it, right? So that's why I see the common things when people, or especially a male, seeing a female is way more alpha in whatever relationship they are. The common advice I hear or is asking them to soften themselves, to don't be so harsh, or to be lower their standard and things like. See, what I try to say here is there's a reason why they were born alpha. You know what I mean? There's a reason why they were born alpha, because they were meant to seek somebody who got true alpha sensing them. It's not that they're born in this world so they can compromise themselves and then, accept just about everybody. Because if they are like that, they were not chose to born with that alpha sense. So usually the alpha female born with expectation, certain expectation. That means whoever is going to be their mate have to have true alpha sense. True alpha sense is not necessarily what you do. You do macho, or you act like, chauvinist or anything. But it's a way of being that you know who you are, what you are doing, you know what I mean? And you don't need me to pamper you. So if since alpha female is really minority, it's not majority of them, right? Unlike guys, if you're alpha, you can pretty much find any girls. Alpha female, in the other hand, cannot find any guy. They only got this limit, this selection of it, right? That they are continually seeking a guy who carry true alpha sensing them. So if you happen to have a mate like that, instead of asking them to lower their standard, don't be so alpha and things like that, which would most likely only push them further away from you, figure out a way to rise above yourself, you know what I mean? And understand the things that they say to you that might sound mean, but they really have no intention to hurt you. Insecurity people have intention to hurt you. But for alpha female, all they want to do is please rise above yourself so I can surrender myself. So until I can see the witness, like see the evidence and things like that, I will be continuously fight or resistant, or cannot be convinced to surrender myself. So anyway, that's just my little opinion talking about alpha female. You know, eventually we'll see there's probably more than I know, but if you happen to know somebody or happen to be in a relationship with somebody, instead of believing they are there to hurt your self-esteem, what I'm here to suggest is I don't think they are. They most likely just want you to rise above yourself and become a better human being and carry the true alpha sense. And the reason they still stick around is because they have that faith in you, and then they refuse to give up. You know what I mean? Because otherwise, as soon as alpha female know you are impossible, you're impossible, hopeless or something, trust me, they will just walk away. They will not even linger on because they don't like to waste their time. So anyway, just a quick coffee break and then share a little bit my personal opinion with you guys. And I guess hope you guys have a great weekend. Again, if you like what I'm doing, join me live on Periscope or go to my Facebook or subscribe my YouTube channel or my website ruowen.com. Till then, I'll see you guys next week. Bye.